Welcome on back, everybody, and welcome to another 3-round mock draft on the channel. My name is Absolute Illusion. You can also call me Colton, though. And today, we are finally doing my Minnesota Vikings. And I am so excited to do this draft. I cannot tell you how excited I am to do this. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. For those of you guys who do not know, I am a huge Minnesota Vikings fan. I do live in Minnesota, although I do plan to eventually move out of this state because it's a mess. The weather is awful and everything's just terrible. But this is gonna be a lot of fun for me. The Minnesota Vikings definitely do have needs on their offensive line, defensive line, maybe some depth cornerback help due to our corners being so young. And again, this all depends on what happens in free agency and who everybody signs with. If the Vikings can make some signings for their offensive line, then they might not necessarily need to go offensive line early in this draft. But as of right now, I believe that the only one that they are planning on signing was Rashad Hill, who they're just bringing back again, re-signing him. Not super excited about it, but it's solid depth piece at the very least. But there's definitely some players that they are going after in free agency from all of the reports that I have heard. So let's just hop right into this. I am so unbelievably excited to do this. We're obviously going to do a 3-round mock draft, set it on slow so we can watch it all unfold. And I'll tell you right now, 100%. If we get a trade offer that I really like, I am 100% going to trade back with the Minnesota Vikings. They are in a prime position to trade back, especially if like a quarterback starts to fall. Trevor Lawrence obviously goes 1. We all kind of knew that was coming. Zach Wilson goes 2. Jamar Chase goes 3. Trey Lance goes 4. Penny Sewell goes 5. Makes a lot of sense. Justin Fields going there. So all the quarterbacks are flying off the board now. Jalen Waddle goes. Kyle Pitts goes. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Patrick Surtain, this should be Caleb Farley, maybe. Rashawn Slater, okay. So who? Okay, so you grab Caleb Farley. Interesting. And then Mac Jones goes there. And we are getting a trade offer just to drop back 1 spot and gaining a 4th-round pick, basically. Oh, my. Oh, my. So we are getting 2 trades here. Okay, we are getting a trade for number 18 and number 50 and giving up 90 and 14. I'm just going to decline this one. And we are being given 25 and 33 for 14 and 90. That is absurd. And I think I'm going to take that. Like, that's absurd. Although, I could take this, slide back to 18, and then slide back again if I felt like it. And then pick up even more draft stock. But I think I'd be dumb to pass on this. We have 2 3rd-round picks. This is absurd. I've never seen a trade like that before. So we have now just gained the number 1 pick in the 2nd round and 25. Holy crap, you guys. Okay, so who's going to be there for us at 25, though, is going to be the key. Elijah Vera Tucker goes at 17. That's kind of a bummer. I would have really liked to have grabbed him there. Tevin Jenkins goes. J.C. Horn goes. Kwity Paye goes right there. Okay. Aziz Ojulari goes right there. And we are getting another trade offer for 35 and being given a 4th. 32 and 2 5s. I'm going to decline both of these. Greg Newsome goes right there. Wow, you guys, this is not what I was expecting, to be 100% honest. And to be totally honest, oh God. So for those of you guys who do not know, Anthony Barr just restructured his contract, so he will be gone next year. And Micah Parsons is on the board. What? So is Jeremiah Owusu and Jalen Phillips, though. But I could also be looking at Christian Barmore here, Greg Rousseau. All right, so as absurd as this is going to sound, okay, because I know linebacker is not one of the immediate needs that the Vikings have, but this is projecting for next year, and this is best player available. I am grabbing Micah Parsons with the Vikings' 25th pick. Oh my goodness. Oh. Yes, I know linebacker's not the immediate need of the Minnesota Vikings, but it is a much bigger need now, though, because Anthony Barr will be gone next season because he is hitting free agency. And Micah Parsons just fell all the way. Oh my goodness. And now we have the #1 pick in the 2nd round. This is absurd. So who's going to be there for us, though? There's a player I'm looking at, and if he's there, come on, Green Bay. You suck. Of course, Green Bay would take the player I wanted. And who's going to be available here? So this is for a 2 from next year, a 4 and a 5. I am going to decline that. Oh, man. And one of the players I want is on the board. Man. This would be absolutely absurd. And this would, again, also depend on what we do with, I guess I haven't mentioned this, but there has been a lot of reports coming out about, Danielle Hunter being very, very unhappy with this contract and possibly sitting out or even requesting a trade. And I think if you're sitting at 33, you're looking at maybe Liam Eichenberg, maybe Jalen Mayfield. Dylan Radins is definitely an option here as well. But I think when you're looking at the players that are on the board, you're going to grab Greg Rousseau, mostly because of the ability for the Minnesota Vikings defensive line coach is probably one of the best in the entire NFL at building prospects and giving him a prospect like Greg Rousseau, who, yes, maybe not day one will be very polished, but he is an athletic freak. And if you give somebody like the defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings, somebody like Greg Rousseau, to mold and make into somebody, whether we bring back Danielle Hunter or whether we keep Danielle Hunter or he ends up leaving, this would make one of the scariest 1-2 combos of defensive ends in the entire NFL. And if not, you have somebody who could potentially fill Danielle Hunter's shoes in the future. Or even if because the Vikings are looking at Trey Hendrickson right now. If they were to grab Trey Hendrickson, this wouldn't be as big of a pressing need unless they did end up trading Danielle Hunter again. And then Greg Rousseau is obviously on the board. So these first 2 picks are absurd for the Minnesota Vikings. And I would be beyond ecstatic for the Minnesota Vikings to make these picks. We do still have a 3rd round pick. I believe we only have 1 though. But if we get offers to trade up into the 3rd round again with the amount of draft capital that the Minnesota Vikings have, I am 100% going to take chances with it. The Minnesota Vikings have so many options with their draft capital. Terrence Marshall Jr. ended up going to the Buffalo Bills. I don't know how much I agree with that. Carlos Basham Jr., another phenomenal edge rusher who could go much, much, much higher than 48. I don't know if that's as pressing of a need for them now anymore, now that they did just literally sign Yannick Ngakoue just 40 minutes ago, as of when I'm recording this, because I'm recording this right after I just recorded the last one. So we are waiting the rest of the 2nd round to get our next player, which will be in the 70s, I think, is where we pick. I want to say we're in the 70s for our picks. And I'm definitely probably looking at defensive line or offensive line here, depending on who is available. There's a couple of offensive linemen I really, really like at this spot. I mean, you're looking at it and you're like, well, giving up a 6. Yeah, I'm taking it. I am 100% taking it. We're looking at who's on the board, and there's multiple people on the board that I really, really, really like here. But there's one in particular who, yes, he's not the best safety in the draft, but he is a phenomenal safety in the draft, and that is Javon Holland. And he is the immediate replacement for Anthony Harris. So that is a phenomenal pick for them there. Yes, I just traded up into the first pick of the 3rd round as well. So I now had the first pick of the 2nd round and the 3rd round. Making a lot of trades with a lot of teams. I think I've actually made 2 trades with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that, I believe, was our pick, was 78. Yeah, that should have been our pick, because we now have given them 78 and 90, if I remember correctly. Or we're like 97 or some absurd number. But hey, I'm more than happy with that pick. And if we have the chance to trade into the third round again, I might just take it again. Because there is a couple players on the board that I really, really do like. Yes, I know that I did not get with the offensive line, but the offensive guard in this offensive guard class in here isn't the deepest. It's not the most amazing, and I definitely think the Vikings are going to go after players in free agency at the guard position. So if anything, I think they'd be looking at maybe one offensive guard in this draft class. And I think there's a couple players that they could take a really, really big shot with. One of them is coming up on the board, and if we get an offer to trade back up, I'm definitely going to take him. But we'll see if we do get an offer. I don't know if we're gonna. We'll wait and see, though. This is one of those opportunities where I would love to trade back into the first round if I was allowed to, but that's not how we're doing this. I've gone over it a few times. Do we get a shot? Doesn't look like it. Not looking like it, ladies and gentlemen. And that is perfectly fine. Benjamin St. Juste goes to the 49ers, which is a pick I really like. That was a very, very good mock draft for the Minnesota Vikings. We made two big trades. We ended up trading number 14 and number 90 for 25 and 33. They ended up grabbing Christian Darrisaw and then Keith Taylor Jr. with pick 90. We grabbed Micah Parsons and Greg Rousseau with those two picks. So I'm very happy with that. And then we traded with the Jaguars again. And we ended up giving them 78 and 221. And they got Tommy Tremble, tight end out of Notre Dame. And we grabbed Javon Holland. So with the draft the way it looks, we did end up with only 3 players in the first 2 rounds. But we have like 3 or 4 fourth-round picks. So 100% we could bundle some stuff together, jump back into the third round if there was a player we really, really liked. But we ended up grabbing Micah Parsons, Greg Rousseau, and Javon Holland were the 3 picks for the Minnesota Vikings. And if I as a Minnesota Vikings fan that I am, if this was our mock draft, I would be screaming to the highest hills I could find because I would be so happy with how this went. This would be the dream. This would be, yes, it's not an immediate need to get a linebacker, I know. But this would be unbelievable. Grabbing somebody who we could grab possibly at 14 in Micah Parsons and at 14 in Greg Rousseau in terms of talent-wise, and getting them both at 25 and 33 would be one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my time watching mock drafts. But let me know what you guys definitely think of this down in the comment section below. If you guys think this is a good draft, if you guys think I'm completely insane, make sure you guys hit the like button if you guys did enjoy the video. Subscribe to the channel as well if you guys want to see more of this content. Follow me on Twitter for all the updates on the channel. And with that, thank you guys all so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.